Welcome back to Corvette Weekly. Thanks for pressing play as usual. This is the channel. This is the show where you can come every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to see everything and anything Corvette, whether it's leaks, rumors, maintenance items, ownership experience, whatever it is, Corvette. If you want Corvette stuff, this is the channel for Corvette stuff. So, I think we're good now. So welcome back. I see a lot of green names in the chat over here, which means a lot of you guys are keeping up with the membership, which is awesome. I think last week we showed that TechSpeed was the very first #1 subscriber to the membership of the Horsepower Obsessed website or YouTube channel. So that's really awesome. I'm sure he's probably in here if I had to guess. But welcome back, everybody. We have a pretty awesome show planned tonight. And if you guys are interested in seeing somebody else other than my face on here all the time, we also have Joeler from Solar Performance. He is here to say a couple nice things about the Vette Exchange website. Of course, we're going to get to that in 1 second, but just wanted to make sure you guys knew or know that Joe's on here with us. So we'll get to him in 1 second. But before we turn it over to Joeler, I want to mention something really quickly here from the Corvette blogger, because this is something that's interesting, and I know a lot of you guys out there are always interested in the Corvette giveaways. Over at the Corvette blogger, this particular person from Ohio actually won the 2026 Corvette ZR1 from the Chip Miller Amyloidosis Foundation. So for those of you out there who do enter for the giveaways, I know firsthand these things are legit. I actually met a person a couple times now down at the Bash and at Corvettes at Carlisle who won a Z06 from one of these. But for any of you out there who are still a little bit on the fence as to whether or not these are legit, these people are factually winning cars. And we actually have his full name here, Jim Stevenson of Columbus, Ohio. Not even that far from me. And he wins a 2026 ZR1, and this is a ZTK package ZR1. Like, this guy won big. So if you guys are wondering about that, they are legit, and you could be the next one to win, because guess what? We actually have something interesting, newly posted from the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. We actually have it's a new C8 Z06 in Arctic White, and you can actually win this car plus 20 grand. So it is a convertible. It is a 2LZ. And it is 25% additional entries if you do enter from the link in the description down below. You guys should jump on this because, like I said, the winners are real. You could be the next winner. And this car doesn't go as long as they typically do. This one's actually going to be done February 8th. So not too far from now. What is that, about 4 months? Yeah, about 4 months you're going to be possibly winning this car. So you should definitely check it out, guys. Links in the description down below. But again, just wanted to make sure you guys understand these are real and they do go somewhere. But
so is that your way of saying that we didn't win, Justin?
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe. What's interesting about that is that I didn't enter because I'm an idiot. And at the end of the day, I probably could have won that. But I don't know. I know the guy that actually won at the Bash, when I talked to him, he put in, I think it was $2,000 worth of tickets, and he got a Z06. At the time, the Z06 were super hard to get, and he freaking wins one for $2 grand. So like, wow. It's definitely a possibility to win these cars. And this guy who won the ZR1, he literally won a $230,000 car, and I bet you he didn't put that much money into it. Okay, so let's see. Where's Sarah? You guys kill me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and actually turn it over to Joe for a minute. He's going to talk about some of the happenings here with the HBO Vette Exchange stuff, because we got some cool cars, guys. So, Joe,
yeah,
you want to take it away?
Thanks, Justin. Hello, everybody. So we kind of had a C8 run for a while, and lately it seems like we've got a C5 run going. We did sell, as you know, the beautiful black 700 horsepower car. We've got two new C5s actually on the docket here. The first one up for sale is a 2003 Corvette Coupe located in Colorado Springs, Colorado. This car actually won the 2023 Corvette Form C5 of the Year. Definitely a modified award and has been a standout car. It's so clean and title is in hand. It's just way too much to go through one by one, but on the website is every detail. I encourage you to look through it. It's meticulous. It's definitely another show car. A couple of highlights I'll just mention is it is a 6-speed manual T56. The mileage is 27,000 original. It's an LS1 383 built by Leading Edge Performance and tuned by Sin City Performance. All forged internals, carbon fiber steering wheel, modular concepts, 3-piece wheels with carbon fiber centers, 19 on the front, 20s on the rear, Nito Invos
All right,
wheels all around.
Joe, 1 second. I was showing the wrong car while you were talking about that.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's my mistake, guys. Everything he was just saying applies to the car on the screen right now, not the red one.
There you go. There's a binder of, yes, 96,000 in spent receipts on this car, and this one can be yours for $33,500. So if you take a look at all the pictures, if you have any specific requests, we can certainly get you more information. But I think if you look at the narrative on this car and every line item, you can't help but be totally impressed. I actually really dig the hood on this thing.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's really,
I haven't
really
put him
cool
up
looking.
yet, guys, but he sent me a couple videos of that car actually idling and like walking around it and stuff. It is super clean and it sounds freaking amazing. So like, again, if I had some more garage space, it'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah, the exhaust actually sounds really, really good. It does have Cook's headers on it. The speaker system's incredible. Like I said, once you look at the site and look at the features and the soon-to-be video, you can't help just be in awe of the money that's been spent on every detail. All the screens are up to date, touch screen. The rear view mirror is all digital camera, just like the C8. Just really an incredible build. So that is the first one. The second one, which is now the red one that was up a minute ago, that is a 2000 Corvette convertible. It's in beautiful torch red with black leather interior. Again, very low mileage car, just 25,000 original miles and a clean Carfax. It's a 5.7 V8 automatic trans, adjustable sport bucket seats. It has the performance axle ratio. It has variable electronic real-time damping, heads-up display, telescoping steering column, electronic dual zone air conditioning, memory package, has both key fobs and all the manuals. And that one is 21,500. So if you're looking to get into either one in a pretty affordable way in a C5, one a convertible, one a coupe, one more stock, one obviously a lot more modded out, you've got two opportunities at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so guys, both these cars are, of course, available on the HBO Vette Exchange website. You can go directly to horsepowerobsessed.com and then right up at the top, click on HBO Vette Exchange, or we actually have a website now directly for the HBO Vette Exchange. So that would just be, I don't actually have it saved here for some reason. So HBO Vette Exchange.com, I believe it is. Yeah. So it is actually just www.vette-exchange.com. And an X would just be an X, exchange. So if you don't want to mess around with the Horsepower Obsessed website, you can actually go directly to the Vette Exchange with that web address as well, which I will put in the chat here. It is just vette-exchange.com. So if you guys are interested in selling a car, feel free to go there, email me/Joe, and we will hook you up with what we need from you in order to start selling. Or if you're interested in either one of the two cars that are listed there now, you can also go to the website and email us from there for any of that information. Sean, that's a great question. Are either one of these two sellers named Joe?
I don't believe so. I know one is definitely not,
Okay.
and no, neither of them are Joe.
That would be pretty funny if if at least one of them were. But yeah, the first I think 4 cars or something we sold, they were all Joes.
And none of these are Joeler either, so you're all good there too. No Joe Joeler.
Good. If we ever run across a guy actually named Joeler, I'll be like, that's weird. Seems a little.
What'll be stranger? What'll be stranger if there's 2 Joelers on the
right? Yeah.
chat as well.
Yeah.
We seem to have a problem with stuff like that, as you know.
That's a black hole situation there for sure. Here's Darth Vetter actually talking about the raffles again. He says the raffles are real. He won a 14 Stingray from the museum by purchasing 1 ticket. So again, guys,
wow.
If you don't want to buy a brand new car, if you don't want to buy a car from the HBO Vette Exchange, if you don't want to sell your car there, if you want to take your chances in trying to win one, it is a good idea to hit up these raffles because they do work. And again, you can get 25% more tickets towards this particular C8 Z06 just by checking out the link in the description down below. This is a 2025 Z06, which is interesting that they're showing a 26 interior there, so ignore that. But for the most part, you can see the window stickers already done here, so it is definitely a 25, and you can win it with 25% extra tickets just for checking out that link in the description. I'm gonna have to email them and let them know that those pictures are not right. I just now noticed that, but either way, they are legit. Whether the pictures are right or not, that is the car you would be getting. So definitely check out the description.
And the other nice thing, Justin, too, is that I haven't looked at this one yet, but I did enter the other one. I believe they're all 501c charity based sweepstakes.
Yeah.
So not only are you, not only are you getting a chance to win a car, but you can kind of feel good that your donations, even if you don't win, are going to really good causes, and so makes you feel pretty good in every direction.
Nice. Yeah, so again, just like Joe said, if worst case scenario, you write off your entries. It's a nice tax deduction. But even if you don't want to look at it that way, it goes towards a good charity. So worst case scenario, you don't win, you're still helping benefit something. Super 8 Creations, Joe Lamb's in the house. What's up? So there is another Joe in the chat, at least one more Joe.
Joe Lamb, how are you?
Lewis actually said that if he decides to sell his C5Z, which what better time than right now while we have another one currently on the website. We could have 3 C5s going at the same time. He said he's going to list his name as Larry Joe.
All right. Well, we said this a couple of weeks ago, but with the weather being awesome in September and October, I've gone to a lot of shows the last probably 5 weeks, and there's just a lineup now of C8s, one after the other, mine included, and people are just kind of walking by, and a lot of the awards being given out lately have been for really pristine C5, C6, and C7s, and the C8s are kind of just kind of expected, I think, more or less these days. And when you see a really, really sharp, differentiated, or even just classic, whether it's the mod one we have at the moment or the convertible, really clean car, they really are getting their due and stand out.
Yeah. Yep. I've definitely noticed. I've noticed the same thing. The C7, whenever me and Dana go to car shows, his C7's getting a lot more attention recently than it has in the past. So, Anthony George is actually asking about updates on the AWE group buy. Still working on that stuff, guys. By the way, if you wanted to get in on that, make sure you are emailing me at horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com. I need to have your name on a list. I'm going to present this to Jesse sometime this week. So make sure if you want in on it, you're getting me an email now. Get on that email now so you don't lose your opportunity. Looks like we got about 110 people watching, 50 thumbs ups, guys. Let's keep rocking those thumbs ups. Let's get to 100 here in the next couple minutes. Smash the thumbs ups. We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. I was not actually able to get a hold of Bill from RSC, so we are not going to have a giveaway tonight. I did get one donation already. You will be moved to next week whenever we have something to give away. I don't know what's going on there exactly, but I haven't been able to get him on the phone. So the donation I got, I'll move that to next week, just so you guys know. So there's no donation tonight. We're going to be doing nothing but talking about information. There's not going to be anything to win tonight, though. So smash the thumbs up, guys. We got a lot of information to talk about as far as ZR1X allocations coming way sooner than anybody thought, and all that good stuff. So, yeah, Seawolf06 says it seems that every show he goes to is dominated by C8s. And actually, Dan, you got your new little icon there. It's a little fireball. You used to have a turbo, so that's showing that you've been a member now for over a year. Pretty cool. I like it.
Congratulations.
1985 Wildside. So guys, this is Mark. He says his still hasn't gotten his ZR1, but it's got to be close. It has to be close at this point. We are very close to getting this whole fire recall thing, gas, fuel, whatever. We're close to getting that taken care of. GM has started to put the fix on the new cars. And here's the weirdest part, guys. I don't know if I've talked to Joe about this, so Joe, you can weigh in on this too. I'm pretty sure, based on what me and Mark have seen, I saw the original CAD image showing exactly what GM was going to fix on this car. I was just assuming, because I only saw it from the front, I was just assuming that there was something special happening on the backside. Come to find that the actual fix for this thing, all they're doing is plugging the hole. That's it. So they're literally replacing that plastic bezel piece around your fuel nozzle area. They're replacing that, and the only thing that's different is the hole is now plugged. So there's no drainage whatsoever for water or anything that might sit in there. It's not going to drain because it's plugged up. I was pretty disappointed whenever I saw that was the fix.
You know, it's funny because when I was at Carlisle, as I mentioned a few weeks back, you know, literally they said they were just going to take a pair of pliers, pull out the piece going into the tank, and then just replace the collar and plop it back in, and that was it. There was nothing more than that. And I thought they were basically making it easier than it sounded, but it doesn't sound that complicated.
No, and see, that's the thing is, you said that initially to me, and I thought, okay, that means that the fix is going to be relatively easy. But like, I'm almost sitting here thinking, like, why even take the extra effort to replace the whole bezel around the fuel door area? Why not just develop something you just pop in the hole? I mean, the hole is like not even probably a couple millimeters big anyway. Literally, some people are in on the comments saying Flex Seal and bubble gum and all. Like, literally, you could do any of those things and have the same fix. It's wild that GM went this cheap with it.
Yeah.
And yeah, 10 seconds 06, I thought the same thing. He said, now the gas is just going to drain and spill all over your paint because there's not going to be anywhere for it to go.
Right. Exactly.
Kevin Reynolds asked for a pic. I don't have a picture, I don't think. Mark, did you send me a picture? Actually, I think you might have, if I remember right. Let me check. No. Someone did send me a picture, though. Or no, he did. It's hard to tell in the picture because, again, what you're looking at is the same exact thing as what you have now. Only the tiny little hole at the very bottom is sealed shut. So it's hard for me to get a really good picture of that from people because they have to be at the exact right angle to specifically show this tiny little hole. So, see, that's the one thing, John. It won't, I mean, assuming it's not on fire, regular gasoline won't affect PPF. Now, you're not going to want to consistently let it sit on there for every other day. If you get a spill, you're going to want to clean it up ASAP, but it won't harm your PPF. And yeah, Mark, if you could get a picture of it for me with a nice clear shot of that hole being plugged up. I have one somewhere and I can't find the freaking picture because the guy that took it for me actually just took delivery of a 26 ZR1 and he sent me a picture on Instagram like 2 weeks ago because I asked him to take a picture of that fuel door area specifically and it looked identical. Everything looked the same to me because I couldn't even tell that hole was plugged. So I assumed the difference was on the backside, that there was some sort of special tube leading the fuel away or something. But no. It's way simpler, way cheaper than that. They just plugged the hole.
So I guess there is no code where you have to have an overflow hole going somewhere else, it would seem, right? Because if there's no exit now for that other than dripping on your car, that's just something it seemed manufacturers did to keep it from going on your paint,
Yeah,
right?
I would imagine there probably is. Honestly, if I had to guess, the EPA would rather the fuel was not spilled onto the ground. So odds are good they'd probably prefer the hole not be there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Professor Corvette says there. Number one, there was a hole. Number two, GM spent 6 weeks thinking about the hole. Number three, AI told them to plug the hole. Number four, problem solved. Like seriously, what is how did it take this long to just say plug the freaking hole? And they sent out these letters and everything talking about the problem. They could have very easily just said, you know what, just plug it up. That's what we're going to do anyway. So you can plug it for temporary purposes, and then we'll replace it later under the recall. I'm going to be hesitant to get it to fix myself because, like, I'll just plug the hole if I'm really that worried about it.
Yeah. You didn't put the Tic Tac in there to plug the hole, Justin?
Right. I mean, honestly, I'll be honest. I think a Tic Tac would be too big. That hole is very small.
Yeah, you'd probably have to bang it in with a hammer, but would have been a good temp. It was a good temp fix. It's funny. I had a fill up yesterday, and I was in Vermont. Hello. I was in Vermont, so I had to pump my own gas because, of course, living in New Jersey, we're the only state left, I believe, that you don't pump your own gas. So I had it set on the the limiter there, and as soon as it clicked off, I kind of thought about the channel a little bit and didn't go any further. But yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, that's right. Because you're living in New Jersey, so that to me that's even scarier. So Joe lives in Jersey,
Correct.
where are you technically not even allowed to pump your own gas?
Correct.
So
yeah, so what happens is you're going right in the perfect place. So when the thing, when the limiter hits and it goes off, the pump guy is just dying to round it up or add more.
Right.
And so it's been funny the last, I don't know, month where when the thing pops and he walks over and before he can get close, I yell out, "Don't pump it in or we're both blowing up." And the guy just looks at me.
Oh my God. All right. So Joe's scaring the crap out of gas station attendants. All right, guys, we got over 120 people in here watching. Smash the thumbs up if you're liking the content so far. We usually like to get to 100 by 8 o'clock, but we started a hair late tonight, so we got about 6 or 7 more minutes. If you guys could, please smash the thumbs up. Let's get to 100. Yeah, so Ricky says, and what about the rain? Now rainwater is going to be going into your fuel tank. No, so nothing's going to make it into your fuel tank. The way that particular nozzle area is set up is there's two doors that have to be opened for anything to go in there. So if you wash your car or in a big rainstorm or something, the rain will probably sit in that bezel area, but it's not going to go into your tank. You would have to open up those 2 doors, which are like, I think they're 6 or 7 inches into the actual opening of the fuel tank for you to open both of those doors. So it would be almost impossible for that to happen.
Yeah.
10 seconds EO6 says, I'm not going to get the recall done now. I want the water to drain. And honestly, like in my situation, and I would say in 99% of your guys' situation, like the odds of this ever being a problem for you are so slim to begin with that it does make more sense probably to keep the hole for water drain purposes. Because if you're not purposely overfilling your tank, if you're not spilling fuel every other time you're there filling up the car, it's very unlikely you're ever going to have this issue. So, I mean, I'm never going to tell you what to do. You do the recall if you want. But at the end of the day, all it is doing is plugging a hole. So, I mean, what I would do, this is probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably not going to get the recall done. And what I'll do is, if I'm really feeling weird about it, I'll just plug the hole whenever I go to get gas and unplug it when I'm done. Stick a rag or something in there that will kind of hold the gas off. I can't really think of a better way to do it and maintain that hole.
Since when do you never overflow your car anyways?
No, that's the thing is I've never filled my car past the first click. But what they're worried about is potential, and this is a very, very, very low risk situation, but there are pumps out there that are broken that won't shut off at the first click. That's where the problem would be. But I'll tell you what, if you're spraying fuel out of your car like that at the fuel pump, I feel like your problems are bigger than just the car burning down. Like that whole station's going down. Like
I told you that story that happened to me uh, on the way to Myrtle Beach, where the lever got stuck and it was gushing out all over my car. I pulled it out of the out of the fuel tank there, and I couldn't. It wouldn't shut off, and I was literally spraying gallons of gas in the air like a movie scene. And I kept hitting the click on the, and it wouldn't release. The guy came running out from inside. He couldn't shut it off. And probably 12, 15 gallons later, he ran back in and shut off the main. And you should have seen what was all over the ground. And then, I'm in my kids at the, are in the car. They were young, my wife. And then this guy pulls in, this is like 15, 20 years ago when everybody was smoking like fiends. And the guy pulls in with a cigarette. I'm like waving him down, like don't move. So yeah, you got bigger problems if you've got 20 gallons coming out of this pump.
yeah. And I got a comment on this. So Professor Corvette said he used a little picture of Onyx. He said an Onyx drive-by because he saw him in the background. That's kind of funny.
Carrying his little baby.
KP says he loves how GM is telling owners how to fill up the vet. Like, I mean, this is real, like first world problems where you have to tell people how to gas up their car. Like, you haven't been doing this for 70 years. Most people buying the Corvettes are in their 60s and 70s. You've been pumping gas for a long time. There is no reason why anybody should have to tell you how to pump this. Now, with that said, of course, there is a possibility, just like Joe was saying, that the pump's broken. In that case, I don't know what you do. I'll be honest, I've never been faced with that. But I mean, Joe, it happened to Joe, and he's here to tell the story. So it's not like if it happens that you're immediately going to burst into flames. So like, just be smart. You are spraying a flammable substance all over the place. So don't go spraying it on your headers or anything. Like, be smart.
Yeah. And I don't know about other people, but I have not had the fan come on all that easily. I was noticing it since we've been talking the last several weeks about this issue. And when I pull into the gas station, even if I was driving for a couple hours just at normal conditions, I shut the car off, and I noticed, because obviously I was the one going to be pumping it in Vermont over the weekend. And, I'd driven 2.5 hours, probably averaging 75, 80 miles per hour on the highway. And I shut the car off. I got the pump, and the fan never came on at all. And then last thing I'll share is I just came back from Ron Fellows earlier in the week, and even as hot as it is out there, and tracking the car and coming off, and then telling you to shut the engine off, open the windows. I can't remember maybe more than once where I heard anyone's fans actually kicking on after 2 laps of a 2-mile track going at some pretty good speed. So I'm not saying obviously it doesn't come on, but I think it's been talked about on this show. You have to really, really heat them up quite a bit for that fan to kick on and stay on. And at least in my last 2 experiences this week, both normal driving and a little bit of track driving, it wasn't like all the cars that pulled in, and there were about 12 of us, that you just heard, fans blaring,
Well,
at every moment.
What I've noticed is I can get mine to come on. It doesn't. I had my black Z06 and the gray one. Now I can get them to come on pretty quickly if I want. All you have to do, you got to be in manual mode, and you have to be riding the real high to the red line, and just like constantly, I'm shifting up and down to make that thing scream as much as I can around town and car shows and stuff. It will run at that point. The car show I was at this past Friday night, I pulled in, parked the car, opened the door, and as soon as I opened the door, that fan was screaming. I mean, it had to have been full blast. And it stayed on for at least 15 minutes after I parked the car. And it was just screaming the whole time. So I knew I was driving the car pretty hard at that point. But I've only ever heard it come on when you're using the paddle shifters and you're staying at pretty high RPM. Because it warms up the transmission apparently. But right. Yeah, Supercar Ranch said that the blue car that caught fire would not have been saved by the plug. And that's the thing, is it probably wouldn't have been, because at the end of the day, if even one tiny little ounce of fuel drops on something hot, it's going to find the rest of the fuel. And so this plug is going to be, I mean, it's GM's fix for what apparently is only a problem with the Z06 and the ZR1, because that little drain port was not an issue on the Stingray, but it is on the Z06 and the ZR1. So this is their way of kind of avoiding, or hoping to avoid, any kind of lawsuits. So it's a dumb fix, but as far as big companies are concerned, I mean, that's what it's there for. It's there to make sure that they're protecting their bottom line. LT4 Powered is very surprised that we don't use gas during our car washes. Apparently that's a normal thing for some people. No, it's not. And Ricky, yeah, I thought the same thing. As Joe's talking about him spraying fuel all over the place, Ricky says it reminds him of the Zoolander scene. So the movie Zoolander, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, where they're spraying gas all over each other and having a good time, and then someone throws a cigarette or something. The movie is meant, like, you're supposed to laugh at how stupid the people are in the movie, but here we are talking about reality where people could potentially be doing something like this on a normal fill up. Like, somebody said in here something about the world making better idiots or something. I mean, I don't want to call anybody an idiot. If there was a time where a fuel pump malfunctioned and it wasn't clicking off or something, my direct instinct would probably be the same as Joe's. And it would be to pull it out of the car and get it as far away from the car as possible. When in reality, that's probably not what you should do. But I mean, there's not really a good answer for a situation like that, which is why I would suggest just don't fill the car up to that point. If you're really that worried about it, I know my car takes around $63, $65 to fill it from empty. I'll put $58 to $60 in it and call it a day. That way I don't even have to worry about the potential of it.
Yeah.
Chili Pepper says, where's Matt Hurley? I haven't seen Matt Hurley actually in a while in here. I talk to him every now and then offline, but he is a busy guy with the fact that he does run a dealership, so I'm guessing that's probably why. That would be hilarious. Professor Corvette says we should just all bring our cars to the dealer and have them fill up the gas. Not worth risking it ourselves. That would be absolutely hilarious. I bet GM would fix that problem like that if we were actually doing that.
Make a service appointment to tell them that you need to fill your gas tank. Can you make an appointment?
Yeah, that would be hilarious. Yeah, Anthony George says there's a gaslighting joke here somewhere. Usually, I think it was Professor Corvette last time that said that there was a fire sale on Z06s and ZR1s. Oh man, I'm glad we can laugh about this. But if any one of us in the comments or on the video side of this had this problem, it would not be funny.
No.
Yeah, LT4 Powered. He says on the C7, I periodically have to hold the nozzle upside down or it keeps clicking every second or two. I have had that problem too. And that's really weird because now, knowing what I know about what's happening with the C8 Z06, I'm a little concerned about doing that even on the C7 ZR1 because I don't really want there to be a problem with fuel. But
yeah. Well, it's funny. I hadn't really had that happen in my Z06 C8, but when I was gassing up to go to Vermont in New Jersey, the attendant, hit the gas and walked away, and it immediately popped. He came back, he hit it again, he went to walk away, and it popped again. And then it happened a third time, and he said to me, "Is the car full?" And I said, "Well, it says I've got 48 miles, so I'm going to say no."
Right? Yeah. That's the same.
So he turned it upside down, which again was not comforting on the Z06, given all the issues.
Yeah.
But when it clicked, as I said, as he came back, I sort of yelled over to him, "We're both too young to die. Do not put another 10 cents in there."
Did you really say that?
Yeah, I said, no, funny. Don't top it off. We're too young to die.
I can't imagine what's going through that guy's head because he has no idea what's going on.
He had no idea. And then my wife said to me, "What are you talking about?" And I told her the story about the recall, and she said, "Are we going to die?" And I said, no, everything's good. It clicked off. We're all good.
Yeah. Oh my God. That poor gas attendant guy. I mean, he walked into that place going, "What? This guy is nuts."
He quit. He's no longer there.
There you go. You literally scared the death out of him. Professor Corvette said that there's a new recall for the E-Ray out today. It's when charging, electrons may drip onto an ignition source, then the car goes boom. And yeah, 10 Seconds Z06 says his fan is always on high. He drives it in manual mode at high RPMs always. That's where I'm at.
There you go.
There
you go.
It's very rare that I put that car in drive and just like putt around. Like I have a Z06. I want the world to know that I have one. So that thing is at 8,000 RPM no matter where I'm going. Let's see. Yeah, Seawolf 06 says that when he went to the track a couple weeks ago, his fan was coming on fairly consistently. I would imagine the fans at Ron Fellows probably were too. Joe, you probably just didn't.
Yeah,
notice.
I might not have noticed it.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably the case because those cars are getting pushed hard, and they want you to drive those cars in manual mode too. So
exactly.
To be honest,
we
with
were
you,
in manual mode.
I can't recall the fan noise myself, and I typically watch for that kind of stuff. So if I can't remember, it doesn't surprise me that no one really notices. There's a lot going on when you're there. That's why.
There is, and the exhaust noises and everything else. It's probably hard to hear it anyway.
Ooh, Robert Brunn says, Justin, I'll be putting down a deposit on a Rapid Blue. Not a 26 then. He says a 2026 ZR1. Rapid Blue doesn't exist for 2026 anymore. So you're either going to get Riptide or you're talking about a 25 ZR1. Let me know which one it is, Robert, because that's awesome. Any way you cut it, it's awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Let's see. Yeah, the fan uses the same motor as the giveaway turbo blower. Actually, if it did, that turbo blower, and actually, guys, just so you know, Amora and I decided to go with the name HPO Pocket Blaster, but the HPO part can stand for high powered option or something like that. I don't remember how it went, but one of you guys actually came up with that name. If it actually used that motor, though, that motor spins at 330,000 RPM, which is wild.
That's crazy.
KP says, what would you recommend the service interval for the DCT on the C8 Manual says 22,500 miles too long. Are you talking about the filter on the transmission or the fluid? Because neither one of those are actually 22,500. The manual recommends 7,500 miles for that filter. I would replace that filter way earlier than that. I just did mine on my car at about 2,000 miles, and even that, I felt a little iffy waiting that long. If you guys don't watch Brandon's garage stuff, he just had a transmission problem where he dropped the pan, and the fluid inside there looked very, very dirty, which tells me not only should we be changing that filter earlier, but we should probably also be changing the fluid earlier than we are, which is a big deal. Now, I'm going to actually have Brandon on the live video one of these days here pretty soon to talk about his issues with the transmission. Brandon's been a super busy guy. That's why he hasn't been on the show, but we're bringing him back on. We're going to make some time to have him talk about some of his transmission issues, because how dirty his fluid is alarming to me. And it was alarming to him as well, because he's been doing the filter change quite often as well. So it's not even a filter change thing. But yeah, if you want to protect yourself from transmission problems, change that filter way more than GM tells you to. Kerry Gloss says gas fumes are worse than straight gasoline, right? I've actually heard that too, because the fumes can kind of like direct a flame to the source. So I would say do your best to not have either one of those two things happening. Jay says where Shane works like 35 jobs. So whenever he's actually on here, it's a blessing. But he has a lot of things going on in his life. So I forgive him whenever he can't pop on here. Mark said every village has one, yeah. MGM says, Justin, on your Seawolf Gray Z06, where did you get the license plate, the dark license plate from? I'm going to actually start selling these, I think, because I get this question so often. It's easier for me to just provide them on my website than tell you where I'm getting them, because the cost is so ridiculous. This place charges $50 for shipping on a $10 part. So I'm probably going to just buy 100 of them and sell them on my website for like $10. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I will do my best to get some of those on my website, because I'll be honest with you, I've bought like 30 of them from Amazon. All the ones that claim that they're dark tinted, none of them are dark. They're all like barely tinted. Let's see. HP Habanero says, here's an opportunity for a Mora to make a temporary block piece in the hole when fueling up. That's a great idea. I'm going to look into that myself. Yeah, no Shane, hit the thumbs up, everybody. So guys, we got 150 people watching and we haven't hit 100 thumbs ups yet. Let's hit 100. Let's do it now. We still got a bunch of news to talk about. We're going to be talking about that in a second as soon as I get caught up with the comments here. Yeah, LT4 Powered says people are afraid of getting their Corvettes wet, so you might as well just use gas. It's way safer. Yeah, JC ZR1 guy says, okay, don't call them idiots. Just say common sense is no longer common. Yeah, I mean, I'm not ever going to call anybody an idiot for something like this because, like I said, I'm not necessarily 100% sure what I would do if a pump stopped or didn't stop working either. So, I mean, no, in that situation, regardless of what you say you would do, it would be hard to just like do. Your mind would go a million miles an hour because you know you got a really flammable substance on your hand. What do you do here? Yeah, Mark, that's unfortunate. He's waited this long for a freaking plug. Let's see. 84 thumbs ups, guys. Let's get them up. Yeah, we got 89 now, guys. Smash the thumbs ups. We definitely got to go with those. Yeah, Sean, technically it's not legal to have anything covering your license plate, but to be honest with you, if you're driving and you're not, doing anything obnoxious or stupid, most cops don't care. The little things they'll let slide. Now, if you're driving around, you got a bunch of blood leaking from your trunk or something, they're probably going to pull you over and they're probably going to give you a ticket for that license plate too. Let's see. Kerry Glock says he did a literal complete flush and replacement of fluid and filter at 1,100 miles to the transmission. I've said for a while, fluid changes and filter changes, you can't do them too often. There is no harm, at least in as far as how your car is going to run. There's no harm in doing it too often. It can only be good things. So if you have the money, you have the time, more often changes is a good thing. Yeah, his filter looked clean because he had just recently replaced it. But yeah, the fluid is just it did not look good in his transmission because that fluid's supposed to be like a goldish, almost like an oil color, and then it comes out gray. Like, I mean, there was a lot of material in there. It does harm your wallet, right?
Justin, when you changed it, did you notice right after driving it that there was could you tell as far as driving wise? Because some people claim you can.
I'm one of them. You definitely can. On my black car, I had 12,000 miles on that, and I had that filter changed 4 times. Whether it was me or the dealer doing it, I changed it 4 times. And every single time I changed it, I actually have a video of one of the times I changed it, where I got in the car and just driving it out of where I changed the fluid or the filter from, I was immediately greeted with a smoother shifting transmission. Which, if you told me that and I didn't experience it myself, I would assume you were either lying or it was a placebo. But I experienced it myself and didn't expect it. So whenever it happened, I was like, "Oh, this thing's shifting smoother. What the heck?" So I grabbed my camera and I was like, "Look at this! Like, this thing is literally shifting smoother." So,
and that was just the filter, right? Not even the fluids.
Yep.
Wow. So I can imagine when you do both at the recommended mileage, that's got to feel totally different.
Yeah. And see, the recommended mileage for the fluid is actually 45,000 miles or 3 years. Now, in GM's defense, Brandon was right about 3 years on that fluid. So he was due for a fluid change anyway. Now, that's the big thing for people to know here. It's not 45,000 miles, regardless of time. If you hit 3 years on that fluid, you got to change it. So if you own your car for 3 years, change the fluid. Odds are very good you're not at 45,000 miles. Change the fluid at 3 years, whether you're at 45 or 5. That fluid needs changed. So with that said, Joe, yours is a 24, right?
25 Z06.
Oh, it's a 25. Okay. So you won't have to do the fluid change until 2028. My black Z06 is due for a fluid change right now. So I would imagine the new owner should be changing that fluid right now. So, I mean, these are things that most people don't understand. Change your filter on that transmission. I personally do it every oil change, and that typically works out to about once a year for me. Now, if you're putting a lot of miles on the car, maybe you do it more often than that. I did it more often on my black car because there was a couple times that I either had just come from a track or I was about to go to a track, and I wanted to make sure that that thing was as clean as possible. Cameron Thompson says, are you still taking names for the AWE group buy? Yes, I am. So Cameron, if you're interested, you have to email me. If you guys are interested in getting in on the AWE exhaust group buy, send me an email, horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com. I need your name and what kind of car you're going to be putting the exhaust on. I want to have this list done this week because I'm going to talk to Jesse from AWE and I'm going to see if we can make this happen. So if you're interested, get me your info so we can go from there. Professor Corvette says, all right, I have a question. Has a Corvette ever won a drag race? Every Corvette versus X drag race video on YouTube shows a Corvette losing. So Professor Corvette, one of the big ones that comes to mind is the one with Brooks from Drag Time and that Wheeler guy. Street Speed has kind of debunked what's going on there. There's a couple things happening at the drag strip with Wheeler, with the ZR1 especially. Because, number one, he lives in Florida. So that car was suffering some serious heat soak. And I talked to a third party that was there watching the cars race. The ZR1 was going bam, 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 bam. It was just one after another, drag one after another, one after another. And every car coming up was its very first race. So you're talking about a very, very heat-soaked ZR1 in Florida heat running against, one of the cars he ran against was the Tesla Plaid, which barely even gets affected by heat. So that's why. Now, Street Speed actually recently re-raced Brooks in his Plaid and beat him because the situation was different. Street Speed's car wasn't heat-soaked, and it was the first race for both cars. So that's kind of why. This is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people at GM don't love, the manual transmission, especially because they'll put out the manual transmission in a C7 ZR1, and then you immediately see a bunch of people in a ZR1 losing a race, and you're like, how's this thing losing? It's got so much horsepower. It's because the guy doesn't know how to shift, or the guy doesn't know how to race. There's a million different possibilities, but that is the very big one on YouTube, especially. The majority of people with a Corvette don't know how to race it, or are racing it in a poor situation where it's heat soaked. There he is, Tech Speed. I knew he'd be in here. The number one member, the very first member. Let's see. C8 just did 22,500 service. You don't have that many miles on your car, do you, Nate? Are you saying you did it early? Yeah, Tech Speed says you can't over service these cars, especially if you drive them hard. Oil change, DCT filter, or you garage keep 3 years. Yeah, that's the thing is you can get the filters, the oil, you can get all this stuff for less than $250, and you got to do that once a year. You're talking about servicing a supercar for $250 a year. Yeah, just do it. Worst case scenario, you don't need to do it, and you're wasting $250 a year. That's nothing in the grand scheme. Yeah, we talked about that already, but that was why. All of those cars, the only car there that I think would still beat the ZR1X would probably be the 750S. McLaren seemed to just be in a different, they're playing in a different game, it seems, because McLaren focuses a lot more on the weight of the car than anything else. So I think the 750S would probably still beat the ZR1X, but it's raced a Revolto and a Plaid in a more controlled situation, and it's beat both of them. Hot Rod Todd, I have not had a chance to make that video yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a chance to at this point this year. So I do want to make it still, because it would be a much easier job if that that door is on there. Okay, Cameron, I thought I already had you on that list. OEM, 100%. If you're still under warranty, OEM. GM put a lot of thought and time into what fluid to use for this dual clutch transmission. If they're saying you should use the fluid from them, you should probably use the fluid from them. They know more about it than I do. That's why I would say that even though I'm sitting here telling you to change your filter more often and GM's telling you not to, I'm telling you to do that because it can't hurt. Whereas if you use a different kind of fluid, that could potentially hurt. DD says, why is GM releasing 26s when the 23, 24, and 25s don't have the fire hazards fixed from dealerships? So GM is putting them on the cars as they're being built now. They already have the fix ready to go. It's literally implemented at the build level first. So all the cars that are currently being built are getting the fix. The second group of cars to get them are the cars sitting at the dealer lots waiting to be sold. The third is us. So like it or not, we're not priority because we already spent our money. Yeah, Richard says I plan to change the DCT and oil yearly regardless of what GM says. I don't think you can go wrong with that. I really don't. Maybe it's overkill. Maybe you're wasting money. But best case scenario, you're saving your transmission. And honestly, based on what I've seen on Brandon's channel, I don't think you're wasting your money or your time.
And the filter change, even if you don't do it yourself, can't be that expensive. It's the full trans change. That's the money, right? That's about $1,200.
Yeah, the filter change is surprisingly expensive. If you don't have your own filter, for just the filter alone, you'll be around $500 to $700, which is a lot more than I thought. And it's only because of the time involved in taking off that shield underneath, because there's like 400 screws that hold it on. But again, if you're even remotely handy and you have a battery powered impact gun, you can have that pan off yourself and that filter changed in probably 2 hours. It's going to take you longer to get the car up in the air. Yeah. Supercar Ranch says just mail me a plastic rivet and save me a trip to the dealer. And honestly, I can't really think, unless they couldn't find a really sufficient way of plugging that hole, like something that would hold up and be 100%, water / gas proof. I can't understand why they wouldn't have just done something like that. It would have been a lot cheaper and a lot easier, and it would save them money in the long run. So I feel like there's got to be a reason why they're totally just making a new cover and plugging the hole. Because, I mean, their plastic cover now is the exact same one, only there's no hole there. So that entire piece is just one solid piece of plastic, whereas ours already has the hole, so you're going to have to plug it with something. But that plug is going to have to be really, impervious to water or gasoline, or else it's still going to be a problem on their end as far as lawsuits are concerned.
Yeah, it's probably just illegally the right thing to do, because you leave yourself open that you had these cars catching on fire, and rather than providing a new part, you just decided to put in a plug, and fluid finds its way very easily, even in a perfect plug situation. So it probably was the lawyers just saying, how much is going to cost us? It's not worth one lawsuit.
Yeah. So Kerry Glock actually says the flush was $1,200 for me. $600 of that was labor. Or are you saying $600 on top of the $1,200? I know the fluid is expensive. The fluid's like $40 or $45 a quart, and you need 11 or 12 quarts.
Wow.
Yeah, so the fluid's definitely going to be expensive. But again, you can find it personally. You can find that fluid cheaper online. So if you buy 11 quarts of it, you might get it for roughly half that cost. Then you do the work. You save all of the labor. You could have even a fluid change done for probably less than $600. So let's talk about some news here, though, guys. I wanted to discuss something we talked about last week, which was that there had been no E-Rays delivered for 2026 yet. Well, there is now. They have officially gotten the very first 2026 E-Ray finally delivered in a very much so, I don't have kids spec. Because, I mean, look at the color of that interior. If you put a kid in that thing, it is immediately going to be disgusting. So either way, this is an E-Ray for 2026 that was delivered. You can see the door sill right there says E-Ray very clearly. So this is actually one of the members over at the Mid-Engine Corvette Forum got his 2026. So whatever was holding up the 2026 E-Rays has been resolved. Now we know it's not the fuel fire issue that the Z06 and Z01 had. That doesn't apply to the E-Ray. So whatever the issue was there, it has been resolved. So if you're waiting for a 26 E-Ray, you should be getting a call any day now. So I guess that's good to see for you E-Ray fans out there. DD says, Brandon said his clutch is falling apart, plugging up the solenoids. He doesn't know that for sure. I would suspect that it is probably something along those lines, because his fluid, as dirty as it was, there's way too much clutch material in the fluid. You can tell the clutch material because of how like gray and shiny the fluid is. It's literally tiny particles of metal. So it's possible that they're falling apart, and that might not be something normal for most transmissions. But at the same time, I mean, Brandon drives his car pretty hard with like nitrous and stuff. But at the same time, I don't think that he's not taking it on the track. He does do a drag strip here and there, but it's like, that doesn't seem like enough to destroy a transmission that's supposed to be able to handle that kind of stuff. I don't know.
How many miles did you say he has on the car?
He's right around 13,000. Yeah. So the other bit of information I wanted to talk about, the guys, if you are interested in a ZR1X, it looks like the ordering process is going to be starting here really soon, possibly already started. So someone posted over at the Mid-Engine Corvette forum from the actual dealer order system drop-down menu. We have now, we're seeing an allocation group for the ZRX, which is the code term, or the term for the ZR1X. This means allocations are going to be coming very soon. Now, I thought that was pretty cool information, and I figured we would talk about it today. But then Darren, actually, if he's still in here, sent me a message that said he got a call today for these cars to basically be ready to order now. So it sounds like they are ready to go right now. And if you're waiting for a ZR1X, you might be getting a call here pretty soon, which is really impressive considering I hate that the ZR1 is still being, charged over MSRP, but they seem like they're handling the orders relatively well. I haven't heard a lot of problems or a lot of complaints from people about constraints and stuff like that. Maybe they're starting to move in the correct direction. Maybe. I don't know. But the ZR1X is going to be orderable here very soon. If you're waiting for one, you might want to check that out. You're probably going to be getting a call here pretty soon. Cameron said, Brandon had said that he had modded the car and felt like that might have contributed. I would say it definitely didn't not contribute. But at the same time, the mods he had were pretty much the same ones that I have. And I don't have any transmission problems. The only thing he did that I didn't do was set it up for nitrous. That's a pretty big difference. So if any of the mods are to blame, it's going to be the nitrous. But at the same time, even then, he did it. I think he only sprayed it once. And that seems like a one-time thing for that much damage just doesn't seem right to me. But either way, the mods that I've done, none of these are, these aren't producing massive horsepower gains. You're talking about 40 to 45 horsepower over stock at most. And even then, the majority of that power is through the mid-range of the power band. It's not even peak power. So I don't see any of the mods that I've done being a problem. I have my black car is now over 14,000 miles with the mods, the same one, pretty much the same ones I have on my gray one. They handle it handles it fine. Honestly, I bet you the biggest thing that I know Brandon does with his car that could have potentially contributed to that would be the launches. Yep, Hot Rod Todd just said it. And him and I talked about it a lot, where he launches his car a lot. And that could be a problem, but at the same time, the car is built to be launched. That's an option that GM builds into the car. So if this is that big of a problem, GM's going to be either taking care of the problem or you're going to be changing your fluid more often.
Yeah. Well, at Ron Fellows, it's funny, the instructor, when we were doing the launches, said, these cars are launched, hundreds and hundreds of times over the period of ownership there. And they keep those cars for about 7 to 8,000, 9,000 miles before they sell them. And they own them. They own all those cars, the Corvettes, that is, they own. And he said it's under warranty. He said it
Yeah.
about 5 times. He said launches are definitely covered under warranty. So go ahead and have fun. They can't not, honor the warranty because you tell them you were doing launches.
Yeah. And that's the thing is you're doing something that the car is not only built to do, but it's advertised and it's an option. Like in the
Right.
stock dash, it's an option for launching. So if you launch the crap out of that car and something breaks, they will cover it. I know this because on my 2020 Stingray, I went to the drag strip with it. I think it was 3 or 4 times I was at the drag strip with that particular car. The final time I went to launch it for my quarter-mile run, and I broke an axle. That car was towed to the local dealership. They asked me what happened. I told them. They put a new axle in. It's that simple. Because I'm not doing something that car is not built to do. I didn't
Right.
have twin turbos on it, stuff like that.
Right. By the way, what is the best time anybody has gotten on the Z06 that may be on tonight? The best I got was 3.0, and they said given the air in Nevada, almost, I guess you're at 3,800 feet above sea level, that is probably the best you'll get is in the threes. I got a 3.0. I think the car is rated at 2.7, I believe,
2.6
by GM. 2.6.
Yep. I personally, oddly enough, my Stingray that I had, I hit a 2.6 second 0 to 60 time 4 times in a row, and oddly enough, it was done in New Jersey. I was at the New Jersey Motorsports Park, and 4 times in a row, 0 to 60, 2.6. I mean, that was the onboard computer, so whether that's accurate or not, who knows? But it was hitting 2.6 in my ZR1 or the Z06. I'm sorry, the fastest I've been able to do around town here, I've not been on a track with it, is 2.7.
Okay.
So technically, my Stingray was faster to 60, but it was also on a track that was
prepared track. Yeah.
Prepped, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here, Hot Rod Todd said he's seen 2.5 a couple times. Tech Speed says he's seen 2.6.
Good.
And yeah, Ricky, this was something I was going to bring up too. He says that he remembers when Nissan would void the warranty if the owner used launch control, which was the most ridiculous thing he has ever heard. This was in the GTR, and this was in the early days of the GTR having a dual clutch transmission. That was one of the first cars that you could realistically buy without spending millions of dollars that had a dual clutch transmission. And in the early days, that dual clutch transmission was built out of glass. Not for real, but it was really weak. So whenever they said the car would actually keep track of how many times you launched it. And I don't remember if it was right off the bat or if it was afterwards. They actually gave you 100 times. You could launch it 100 times. If you launched it more than that, you voided your warranty. In the very beginning, I think it was if you launched it at all, you voided your warranty. I think towards the end of the run of the GTR, it got to the point where they didn't care anymore because they beefed up the transmission. But initially, that was a problem, and I thought that was pretty pathetic too. Uh, 10 Seconds Z06 says he got a 2.7 on the street with his Pilot Sport 4S tires. Mark Cutsy, he said the reason my Stingray did 2.6 was because it was trying to get me out of New Jersey as quick as possible. Tech Speed says most common is 2.7 to 3.0. Ricky has a 2.8 on his E-Ray. That's a good question. Kerry Gloss says Joe was no, his time was at Ron Fellows, but he wanted to know if your time was with a solar throttle body or not.
No, that was their cars.
Professor Corvette says, does computer save number of times launch control was used? I just said that Nissan did in the beginning. It wouldn't surprise me if GM does too. It wouldn't surprise me. Because
Yeah, I would imagine that.
if you turn in a car, if you have a problem in it and you turn in a car that has like a billion launches, not that they would ever deny your warranty, but at least then they would know why it was a problem. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times GM, if there's a failure with their car, a lot of times GM wants to know why. Like if it's a failure that they don't understand, they'll actually take the part back and research what happened because they want to know for future reference if they need to beef something up.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they're not capturing that data. They probably capture so much data.
Yeah. I think the C8 in general over any other Corvette we've ever had captures and does things with data way more often than any other Corvette ever has. Especially since dual clutch transmissions are awesome for the speed of their shifts and everything, but they are inherently relatively weak compared to other transmissions because of how many parts there are. Yeah, I would say the same thing. Hot Rod Todd says most likely launches will affect your fluid life and filter counter. Absolutely. When you're hard launching, it is going to put extra stress on the clutches and everything. And those things, you know, as they wear, they're going to put material into the fluid, which is going to make it look like Brand's fluid did. So more filter changes, more fluid changes. If you're going to be doing track or heavy aggressive driving a lot, those two things can't be done too often. That's just the easiest way to look at it. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so ZR1X allocations should be coming out any day now. So if you're waiting for a ZR1X, you're going to be getting a call soon if I had to guess. I came across something that was pretty cool on Facebook that I wanted to share with you guys. So this guy's name's Jack Metcalf. I've talked to him a lot behind the scenes, but he actually posted a picture of something that I never knew existed. But he found this online, and that is a replacement for the hood, the gauge cluster hood on a C8 Corvette. This was for a 25 or older. So this is not from a 26. This is for your current 25 or older car that replaced the entire top part of the speedometer area, that hood, and replaced the whole leather part with a solid carbon fiber piece. This wasn't an overlay. This was actually a replacement for the leather part that's there now, and it would convert it to what looks like a matte carbon fiber. Now, this never made it to production, but he actually found this and wanted to post the pictures up. And you could see in the bottom right-hand corner that there is an official GM sticker on this. So this is an official GM part that never made it to production. Now, if you look at the 2026s, we are now getting a little, it's only about this big now. It's like a little hood part that's carbon fiber. But GM was obviously playing around with this idea for a while, and we just never got it. So really cool if you guys are interested in something like that. It's cool to see how many parts don't make it to production that GM is constantly working on. Now, off this topic, I know of another one. I've personally even seen it from GM that was going to make the diffuser on the C8 carbon fiber. The whole diffuser was going to be carbon fiber from factory. That was going to be a factory option. Now they have apparently nixed that option, and it's not an option anymore. They didn't go to production with it, but I saw it in person, so I know it exists. And again, that was another one of those parts that just never came to fruition. Then there is, this is you guys know we've talked a lot about how kind of pathetic the Facebook groups can be. I got some more fuel for that fire. No pun intended. You know, with the whole stop sale thing. Anyway, guys, smash the thumbs up. Got 140 people watching. Smash thumbs up. Check this out. As of right now, I would imagine you guys are probably all like me. You don't love the idea of paying over MSRP. You're kind of mad at the dealerships that make you pay over MSRP. It's not a great thing. I know Joe's on here with us. I'm sure he agrees. Paying over MSRP is not a fun thing. We really, maybe not hate, we strongly dislike dealerships that do this. Everywhere on Facebook, I see people, you know, a dealership, a salesman will post a new ZR1 for sale with an 80K ADM adjustment fee. Everybody gets on there and rips this dealer apart. So this one guy is taking it into his own hands and saying, you know what, we're going to create a list of these dealerships that are doing this, and we're going to shame them for it. So he creates a list. And this list has all of the dealers that have charged over MSRP for a ZR1, how much over MSRP they charged, where they're located, all this other stuff. It's a really nicely put together list. And then the people start attacking him for hating on the dealerships that are charging over MSRP. Facebook is just so full of hate. It doesn't matter what it is. They just want to hate something. They don't even care what it is. It doesn't even matter if it makes sense. They just want to hate. And this is perfect proof of that.
Yeah.
So if we look at this, this is the guy, he made this list. It's called the List of Shame. And his name is John over here on the right. I think you can see. It's cut off a little bit. But some of the comments here, it's hilarious because these guys are literally taking the backing of the dealership. They're saying, oh yeah, if it's so easy, why don't you go out there and spend 10 to 15 million on your own dealership and fix the problem and blah, blah, blah. It's like, Jesus, guys, like you got to pick a problem and focus on it. These guys are all over the map. They hate dealers for doing this. But then when this guy makes this list calling these dealers out, they hate him for doing it. It's wild. I mean, Facebook is just such a cesspool of disgustingness. Like, it is awful. This guy's doing the right thing, in my opinion. I mean, look at this list. Some of these guys are 200K over. And then he's getting like just bombarded with nasty comments for doing this.
You know, it's funny though. I definitely have seen in Facebook and other, forums where there's definitely two schools out there, as evidenced by what you're saying. There's the people that believe that, GM is the MSRP. Everyone should be able to buy it at that price. And then there's the other school that says, well, it's America. You can sell anything you want for any price. And if someone's willing to buy it, then let the buyer pay up. I don't subscribe to that. I think if there's a manufacturer's suggested retail price, in theory they're not leaving any money on the table. And just think about everything else you buy. I mean, imagine going into a clothing store or a food store, and there's the MSRP tag on it, and they're asking $5 over on watermelon or $30 over. I mean, obviously during the pandemic that was happening, but in a normal world, you're not used to buying a shirt with a list price on it, and then the store saying, oh, by the way, that one's $100 over this week.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, Seawolf06 said something I thought for a second, and that was that it's probably the dealers that are hating on this guy on Facebook, but I don't think it is. I mean, maybe some of them, but for the most part, I honest to God, I just think Facebook is just, it brings out the worst in everybody is what it is. Like everybody that gets on there, they just want to hate something. And I saw one the other day. What was it? Guy posted about in a Corvette group too. And that's what this is, on a Corvette group too. But he posted in a Corvette group asking a really simple question about something about his new C8 Corvette. And I can't remember what it was now, but it was a real easy, hey, here's the answer kind of thing. And it had like 85 comments or something on it. And not one person just gave him the answer. They were all saying, well, you could just Google it. You could have searched the other 300 topics on this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, in the amount of time it took to comment that, you could have said, oh, hey, the answer is XYZ. I don't understand why people are so nasty on Facebook. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anytime you try and post something, whether it's on Facebook Market or whatever, nobody can either keep their mouth closed. It's like everybody has to comment, even if they have no interest in it. They just have to share their own personal view. And then if you ask them if they're interested, they're like, of course not.
Yeah. And it's like, why did you even bother taking the time? I mean, save yourself the time and go about your day.
I know, it's amazing.
This is another issue I've seen popping up a lot too. Supercar Ranch says, oh man, Cavender Chevrolet is on that list. And they were one of those dealers that always bragged about never charging over MSRP. I have seen and heard this exact same thing a million times. Again, the C8 Corvette is a great car. And it has brought all of us together to some degree. But it also has brought out some of the worst in the dealerships. Dealerships that have never charged over MSRP in the past, they have definitely charged over MSRP with this car, whether it's the Z06 or the ZR1 or even the Stingray when it first came out. All of these dealerships that are touting the fact they've never charged over MSRP, they are definitely charging over MSRP in the back door shady dealings. They're all doing it. Every single one of them. I've literally worked with a bunch of dealers that say, yeah, we've never done it. We've never done it. And then I watch them doing it.
Yep, the C8 definitely changed the game back in 2020. Dealers that had been around since the 30s had never charged over MSRP, and the C8 changed all of that.
Yeah. Sean, you're right. This is definitely one of the biggest reasons why Facebook is such a disgusting place to be, and it's because everyone is anonymous. There's actually some Corvette groups that I've seen that you can join it and not even give your name. Like the name that you post under will flat out say anonymous. And it's like these people are hiding behind their keyboards basically, and they feel like they can be, the tough guy that they can't be in real life. And that's unfortunately true. It really is. But it's just disgusting because it's like you're bringing that hate into a group of automotive enthusiasts that don't feel that way in real life. I mean, all of us, we're all here for the same reason. We like Corvettes. We like cool cars. Yeah. And it's like, why would you just get in there and just immediately start giving people crap for no reason? These people are your brothers, basically.
Yeah. What I'd love to see GM do is, because they don't own the dealerships, they can't, it's MSRP. But it would be great if they would allocate only a certain amount of each car, like a ZR1 or ZR1X, to dealers that will absolutely only sell them at MSRP.
Yeah.
And that way assure a more balanced market where, in theory, every dealer can mark them up and they can't do anything about it. So they say, although they could because they're the ones allocating it. But they could, if they're making 1,000 of them, well, 500 are absolutely have to be sold at MSRP by the dealer, or we're not shipping them to you under contract. And then I guess the others are, market prevails. But to do nothing and just pretend that it's not happening is just inept, I think, on GM's part. And, in a bad market, or God forbid they launch a C9 or C10 someday that's a bomb, everybody's going to have vengeance, and just be like, look, you weren't there when we wanted your car. It's not a good situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It is unfortunate, but we've talked about this a million times off camera, Joe, where it's like these people that have been loyal to dealerships for their entire lives, then to get hit with, I want to buy a C8 Stingray whenever those first came out, and you're getting hit with 50 to 100K over MSRP when it's like, I bought 20 cars from this dealership. Why am I just now, like, you're not going to support me the way I've been supporting you for the last 20 years? And that's the problem that will eventually catch up with all of these dealerships. Eventually, the loyalty is going to be a problem because they had none, whereas their buyers had it all. So you can only screw over people that are loyal so often before they say, I'm done with you. I'm going to the next place that actually will treat me right.
Yeah. And the worst is when they did it to people and didn't even do it up front. Their car got delivered. They called them in to come pick up their car. And this is just even with the base C8s. And they said, okay, well, we're going to have to charge 20,000 over. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, really.
So that was really, really dirty, to make somebody wait a year and a quarter and not even reveal what you were going to do to them until they walked in to pick up their car, right?
Yep, that was the bad part. Anthony George says, Justin, are you getting your new TRX when they come out? Assuming it's real, I've heard a bunch of this, and I haven't seen anything yet telling me that it is actually legit. If they do it right, absolutely. What I envision in my head is a very easy thing. You change up the front bumper a little bit. You give it the red eye engine, which would be 797 horsepower, so you effectively add 100 horsepower to it. Change up the front bumper a little bit, like I said. The interior, change it up a little bit, kind of like what the RHO has now. Make it so it can fit 37-inch tires stock and beef up the suspension a little bit. That's it. That's it. Other than that, you don't have to change one single thing on that truck. And those would sell out immediately. So if they did that, they could even charge a little bit more for it because people don't seem to care about paying $100,000 for a truck whenever it's as beefy as a TRX. If you change those things I just said, you can effectively bring out a brand new TRX that people will go nuts for. And I would trade my TRX in a second on that because that's exactly what I want. A little bit more power, beefier suspension, bigger tires, and a slight refresh. There you go. Done deal.
Just make sure you take out your controller first.
Oh, I definitely would, because assuming it fits on the new one, it's going to need it too. AARPM says my favorite is on Facebook Marketplace. The people that put the little laughing emojis on car prices because they think the price is someone's asking is too high, but oftentimes the price is fair. And I've seen that too. They do that little emoji of the laughing face, and it's like, again, just like Joe said, these are people that have no intention on even buying that. They're not even looking for a car, but they see that and they see an opportunity to just be an idiot. Just be someone who wants to annoy people today.
The best is, we list a car and they're like, I was wondering if you can give more specs. And you're like, well, considering how many we've given, which one are you looking for? And then they don't even respond.
Yeah. Yeah. Tech Speed said every dealership charges over MSRP until they have inventory bloat. That's it. Once the inventory is not moving the way it should, now all of a sudden they're like, oh, wait, guys, we're sorry. Here's $20K off.
Right.
Keyboard Warriors. Yeah. Yeah, we did. So Professor Corvette says, didn't we go through this with the Stingray and the Z06? Now people are getting their Z06s for $20K under. I got mine for $20K under, and I didn't even have to fight for it. I just walked into the dealership and said, this is what I want, and they gave it to me. It is market driven to some degree, but at the same time, you don't understand as a dealer what you're doing to the customer. You're telling them that your loyalty meant nothing, and you can go, 10 miles down the road to a different dealership that you haven't worked with before, and they'll give you what you want. And that these dealerships are losing the loyal customer, and that's going to be a problem eventually. That's going to catch up to them eventually.
Yeah.
But we got 111 thumbs ups, it looks like. Guys, let's keep smashing those. We definitely have more than 111 watching, so keep smashing the thumbs up, guys. Keep going with those. We have one more piece of information I want to talk about before I let you go. But let me see.
Hey, Justin, I've got to run, everybody. I've got an exchange call to take.
Nice.
Somebody interested.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you for tuning in.
All right, guys. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good week, everyone.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So Joe's off doing some business. That's awesome. Obviously, HBO Vette Exchange is still very much alive. So if you guys are interested in selling or buying anything, let us know. We will not charge over MSRP. And then, in fact, we'll get you, as a seller, a better price for your car. And as a buyer, you're going to buy it for less than you would at the dealership. So it's a win-win, literally. Mark Cutsy's a Raptor owner, yeah, but you got to appreciate the TRX, especially if they do come out with something that beefy. Yeah, Kerry Glock says, I think Street Speed went to Sioka for his ZR1, not his PA dealership. I actually helped Street Speed get that ZR1. If you watch his video, actually the video I did with Street Speed, he actually says that I helped him a lot in the background get that car. And there's a reason for that. He's actually going to talk about that in the future. He started to talk about it on a video he made the other night. But Whitmoyer, which is not Whitmoyer anymore, it was purchased by somebody else. They have some issues with owing GM money for financed cars through the GM financial thing. I don't know all the details, but at the end of the day, the dealership owes GM a lot of money. I'll just put it to you that way. Let's see. Yeah, some of those accounts on Facebook probably aren't even real. You're right. Yeah, that's it. 37 million. I don't know the details of it, Mark Cutsy. I remember they posted it on Facebook or online. I saw it a while ago, but that dealer owes GM a lot of money. And that's one of the reasons why he wasn't able to get the ZR1 through that dealer anymore. But that's only one of the reasons. Outside of that, I was able to get him one for the price that he wanted to pay. So we did it. So, the only other thing I really wanted to talk about tonight, guys, was if you haven't seen this yet, the first look at the 2026 E-Ray and Z06 3-stanchion high wing. We saw this initially when GM wanted to show us the 2026 interior, and they actually showed an E-Ray sitting there, and you could see the spoiler in the back. I'm not a fan of this in the slightest. I never was. Whenever we saw it initially for the 2026 interior update, I didn't like it. But now we're seeing it actually in person, so to speak, with Rady's Rides. He was actually there physically with it. I'm not a big fan on how it looks. I don't like 3 stanchion spoilers. I think they're kind of strange looking. But if that's your thing, let me know. If that's your thing and you might want to get one of those, cool. No, not Sioka. Sioka is not the one that owes the money. It's Whitmoyer or whatever the dealership's called now is what owes it. Yeah, I'm not a fan either. I think the Z07 wing is cool. The ZR1 wing's cool. That 3 stanchion, I think they kind of missed the mark on that one. Yeah, Jeffrey, this is a great point. He says he has recommended the solar throttle for all C8 people, for everyone he meets. And it's shocking how many people don't even know about it. It is. Because, and that's why we talk about it so often here. Sometimes you guys probably get tired of hearing me talk about it. But I'm getting new subscribers every single day that maybe don't know about it. So I actually have a video coming out probably tomorrow for the solar performance throttle controller. It is wild how much of a difference that thing makes, because this is the first time I went from the car being modified and then waiting about 3 weeks afterwards to put the throttle controller in. And didn't I find out that the throttle controller took all of the mods that I did and kind of put them in line with each other. So it's hard to explain, but basically it almost felt like that throttle controller was a tune for the mods that I've done. It just feels so much more connected. It's wild, but that'll be a video probably tomorrow or Wednesday. I'll have it out for you guys. Yeah, not a fan on the wing. Seems like most people aren't. Yeah, Darren says he can appreciate the TRX, but he enjoys his Raptor. I'm the same way. I can appreciate the Raptor, but I enjoy the TRX. So I mean, thank God we all can have it our way. No, that's not a different bumper. That is the same exact bumper. It just has the heat areas underneath the taillights are painted instead of carbon flash, but the bumper's the same otherwise. This is an E-Ray sitting here, not a Z06, so the exhaust is outboard as well. But guys, that's pretty much it for the information tonight. So I don't want to take up a whole bunch of your time. I know we didn't get to do a giveaway tonight, but we will have something next week for you. So I know Ricky, you donated, and I'll make sure that rolls over to next week for you. We do have a 5-month loyal HBO fan here. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Anytime I see these things pop up, guys, I try to call you out because I really do appreciate all of you guys being members. And we'll make sure, of course, yeah, Nate, we'll get you guys. Every member here will have a free entry at some point this particular sponsored month. So, but yeah, guys, that's going to do it. So it looks like we have 140 people watching, 120 thumbs ups. Smash the thumbs up if you get a chance. We're going to wrap this one up. So I really appreciate all you guys tuning in as usual. We'll see you the same time, same place next Monday night.